Adoption can be a true blessing and a wonderful thing. People helping children who are displaced, who need a loving family, who need to be nurtured, taught, loved, so many things. It really can be the biggest blessing. But what happens when certain people not only take advantage of the system, but unknowing people that you wouldn't ever expect utilize this system to target children, to not adopt them in a selfless way, but instead to adopt them for profit from the government, but instead choose to adopt them for their own selfish, depraved, disgusting reasons, all while parading around as though you are some innocent, heroic person. Guys, today's case is not going to be an easy one to hear, and we'll see if it even makes it to YouTube or if it gets taken down, but it is not easy at all. So we're gonna jump right in. My name is Elise, and let's get into it. Adoption is a wonderful thing for so many children and parents in the world. Some children find homes with amazing parents to care for them, provide shelter, food, love, and cherish them the way that they should be cherished as a child. These children get the love that they deserve and that they may not have ever gotten in their entire life had they not been put up for adoption. And parents are blessed with children that they may not have been able to have outside of adoption. They have a child that they may have longed for years. Many adults dream of having children, but a lot of times women and men suffer from infertility or medical issues that have made them not be able to carry a child themselves. Another example is for same-sex couples that are not able to biologically reproduce on their own. Many same-sex couples turn to adoption to complete their family, but some children aren't so fortunate when it comes to their adoptive parents. William Zulock, who is 33 years old, and Zachary Zulock, who is 35 years old, met each other in 2013, and they got married about 4 years later on December 14th, 2017. They were so excited to start their family together to not only build on their marriage, but bring children into their lives and have a complete, happy, and loving home. So right after their wedding, they contacted an adoption agency, and just a little less than a year later, on November 7th, they were blessed with 2 little boys, 7 and 9-year-old brothers, and they adopted them through a Christian adoption agency called All God's Children, Inc. This agency focuses on special needs children in the foster system, and it's located in Watkinsville, Georgia. The boys were placed in foster care when they were 3 and 5 years old, after they were taken from their parents because they were addicted to very serious drugs. William works in a customer service center for a local government department, and Zachary works at a local bank as the branch coordinator. They both had great steady jobs and were going to give these 2 boys a life that they could only have dreamed of. William and Zachary also were very big activists for the LGBTQ community. They were said to be the darlings of the LGBTQ community in Georgia. They attended many parades, and they were even asked to have their pictures featured in a prominent publication called Out magazine. In 2020, the couple built their dream home for their new family on a 2-acre secluded cul-de-sac in a very prestigious upscale neighborhood where houses in that area, on average, sell for about $900,000. And they decorated this beautiful new home in rainbow-colored decor with a beautifully manicured landscape. I mean, it just felt like the picture-perfect life, bringing in these 2 young boys and their family being complete. What could go wrong? Because nothing is what it seemed. Although these parents portrayed to be loving, doting parents, providing their boys with a happy and wealthy life through their social media posts, some things are not always what they seem. And in a string of events that nobody saw coming, their happy, loving household was about to truly go under the X-ray vision light and be blasted for what it truly was and the actual horror that was going on inside that home. Back in August of 2021, 27-year-old Hunter Clay Lawless was arrested after child investigators traced a large cache of photos relating to child material that's explicit back to his Gmail account. In a press release posted on Facebook, they said that they were tipped off after a GBI detective received information about someone who may have been downloading child materials. After an investigation and interview with the suspect, police found that there was a second suspect who was producing homemade child material with at least one adopted child who lived in the home with that same perpetrator who was uploading it, taking the imagery and uploading it. And Hunter had a lot to say about this after he got arrested and shed some light on where he had gotten some of the photos that were found on his computer and his phone. Whether he talked about it as part of a plea deal or not is unclear. However, Hunter told the police that he had met William and Zachary Zulock through one of his other friends known as Blake, and that he met Blake on Grindr. Now, for those of you who don't know, Grindr is a location-based dating app very similar to Tinder, where you swipe left or right on other people's profiles, depending on if you like their profile or not, if you're interested, and then if you get matched with each other, you can start messaging each other. Only Grindr, unlike Tinder, is made specifically for the LGBTQ community. So Hunter told police that after meeting William and Zachary, he started to receive numerous messages on Snapchat from Zachary, which these messages would allegedly say, "effing my son tonight," and telling him to be prepared to get photos and videos documenting the activities. After which Zachary did in fact send images and videos of himself sexually attacking his 11-year-old adopted son, the very son that he was telling everybody he had saved from the foster system. And guys, it gets so much worse. Hunter also told police that he never engaged in sexual contact with the Zulock's children, but he said that Zachary asked him to participate in these sexual acts multiple times, although, according to him, he refused. On July 27, 2022, after finding the photo and video evidence on Hunter's phone and computers, and after more investigating, law enforcement officers raided the home of William and Zachary Zulock in Oxford, Georgia, and they raided their home in the middle of the night. Zachary was slammed to the ground by officers and taken into custody, and William was pulled out of his home and put in the back of the police car while he was still naked. Both William and Zachary were then arrested. Before their arrests, a search warrant was already issued, and law enforcement seized the Zulock's home, everything in it, and all of the cars that were on the property. The evidence that was collected from their home would paint a much larger picture of what these two boys went through after being adopted and the true house of horrors that was inflicted upon them.
Good evening, and very disturbing details indeed. The Walton County Sheriff's Office says that it was an investigation by the GBI that led them to the couple. According to authorities, the couple was making in their home. Zachary Zulock and his husband William Zulock are being charged for child sex crimes. The Walton County Sheriff's Office raided their home on St. Regis Way in Oxford and found that both men were engaging in sexually acts and videotaping it with their adopted sibling children. The two children were taken out of harm's way, police saying that material was being downloaded, which was discovered during a search warrant in unincorporated Loganville. Now, we did speak with neighbors in that community off camera. They did not want to speak on camera, but they do say it was very shocking to find out that was happening, and they said it was awful for those children.
A folder titled Us, found on Zachary's phone by law enforcement, allegedly contained videos of William participating in many sexual acts on one of their children. Other evidence collected by law enforcement and being used against both William and Zachary included 149 images, 2 flash drives containing both of their cell phone data, text messages from Hunter, a Snapchat message, 2 letters written by their 11-year-old son, and the SANE exam results that a nurse had conducted on the children after the arrests. They also collected clothing items from the boys' bedroom that matched clothing seen in the videos of the boys as these acts were taking place. And according to the indictment, the boys, aged 9 and 11 years old, were continuously sexually targeted and attacked by William and Zachary, who repeatedly RAPE'd both boys in their back cavity, performed oral acts on them, and made the boys perform oral acts on them as well. The indictment also alleges that on one occasion, the older boy was injured due to the back attack, if you're catching my drift and what I'm throwing down there. Now, if these boys were injured due to these acts, were they ever taken to the hospital to get medical attention? The documents also state that all of this dates back with the children to at least 2019, meaning they were going through this for years. While being interviewed, William allegedly admitted to forcing their 11-year-old son to perform an oral act with the intent to satisfy his own sexual desire. And this is all according to the affidavit. And Zachary admitted to sending child material to several people, but said it was to less than a dozen people, as if, oh, okay, because it's less than a dozen people, that makes it better. It is just sick and disgusting. You're not only inflicting these horrific acts and documenting them and videoing them and forcing them, but then you're sending it off rapid fire to your crew that you're meeting on Grindr or to some of your friends to like gloat, to flex what you're doing, to involve them, which we're going to get to. It is disgusting. William and Zachary allegedly told the two boys that our business is our business and what happens in the home stays in our home. In addition to what was happening in the home, the boys were forced to stand in the corner for 8 hours straight as a form of punishment. They were only allowed to move if it was time to eat or if they had to use the bathroom. Someone also reportedly witnessed William slap their younger son in the face at one point. These poor boys were just assaulted in every way possible, and it is so sad. It reminds me of a very extreme version, not to discredit or diminish what the Turpin family went through, but a very sexual and extreme version of that, forcing them to stand in the corner for 8 hours. You only can eat or go to the bathroom. And then when you're not doing that, you're either standing in the corner or you're performing an act on me or I'm forcing it on you. It is truly appalling, unacceptable, and disgusting. So just before William and Zachary were arrested, Zachary had reached out to a woman that had actually helped them adopt these two boys. He asked what happened to all God's children, to which she replied that they had closed down. And he continued to say to her that he was looking to adopt a 2-year-old girl and asked if she had any recommendations on another adoption agency, since All God's Children's agency was closed. It's not known whether he contacted the other agencies that she recommended, but I am so glad that they did not have time to adopt another child. It is unbelievable. I couldn't even imagine what a new child brought into that family would endure at the hands of these sick people. Another affidavit states that Zachary filmed William performing acts on their children, as though that was their sexual release with each other. And even worse, if you can even believe that it gets worse, which it does, it was also revealed that the men allegedly sold their two sons to other men, and that they were involved in a large ped ring. Those men were later identified as Hunter Lawless and 25-year-old Luis Armando Vizquero Sanchez. The two men were both arrested on charges of soliciting an act of sales with a human with the Zulock's 11-year-old son, although it is unclear whether they actually ever met the boys or had any sexual interactions with them. Luis is also facing a long list of unrelated child sex crimes, including coercing a 13-year-old relative of his into sex. Now, Hunter was shockingly released on a $25,000 bond after his arrest, and now lives with his mother while he's awaiting his next court date, which just infuriates me because I feel like child predators seem to, more times than not, get offered these minute, tiny little bail amounts. How is $25,000 at all just when there is a massive predator like this on the loose? Other potential defendants are being investigated based on the phone evidence that shows pictures of the Zulock boys that were being sent to other unidentified men as well. But that's not all. It has now also come to light that Zachary was actually reported to the police back in 2011 for allegedly luring a 14-year-old boy into a residence before assaulting him. However, for an unknown reason, the case was not properly investigated by the detectives involved, and no charges were ever filed. Detectives now working for the department admit that the investigative efforts fell short. Those detectives that worked on the 2011 case have now all retired from their jobs. But now that the case is being re-examined in light of the recent arrests of William and Zachary, a statement was made regarding this case. And this statement said, the 2011 case was handled in a manner that is inconsistent with current investigative standards, but law enforcement officers in the Criminal Investigations Division at the time have since withdrawn. Current WCSO detectives are evaluating the case and looking for leads that may still bring charges. As with all cases, our detectives are diligent and passionate when it comes to prosecuting and will always seek justice for the victim. So I'm not sure if the case just didn't have enough evidence at the time to bring charges or if it was just mishandled altogether. But Zachary would have been 24 years old at the time of these allegations. And had that come to light, I'm guessing based on the system and hoping that things work the way they're supposed to work, they never would have been able to adopt these two boys. After their arrests, months of recorded jailhouse calls were reviewed, where William and Zachary talked about the extent of what they had inflicted on the two boys, which is just crazy to me because when you are incarcerated, you should know that all of your calls are being recorded. These calls were made to a relative of William and Zachary who said that they would like to remain anonymous. Some parts of the recordings have been released, and we will listen to those now.
They come in blazing with AK-47s or whatever.
How many people was it?
10, 15, a lot. They were doing like a drug bust or something.
Yeah, you can tell in Zach's mugshot that he has a big bruise on the left side of his face.
Yeah,
Looks
they slammed him against the floor in the foyer. He had bruises on his knees, his face. They slammed him on the floor. And I hate to say this, but I don't sleep in clothes, so they arrested me in my bed naked, put me in a cruiser with no clothes. I sat in the back of that cruiser from 11:30 to about 4 a.m. naked in the back seat of that cruiser while they searched our house for God knows what. They seized the house, everything inside of it, and all of our cars on the property. I think they took our house because they think there was extra money coming in from somewhere, and we're like in our 30s and we have this big giant house and they didn't think we could afford it.
I mean, can I ask you, does this guy know you at all, or is this some random thing he's just trying to, rat somebody? I mean, can I ask you that, or?
So last time he was here, I told him something, and I told you last time he was here. I told him something. I wrote down something, gave it to him. It's something around those lines, but more.
Me and Zach worked our butts off for everything we've had. And they called me out front again for fingerprints, and I saw the new charges that they're putting against, I'm assuming both of us. There's 17 charges.
I mean, are you worried about the boys? Of where they are, or?
I mean, yeah, but I definitely can't talk about that.
I don't want to say it, but brace yourself for the truth, okay? Just don't give up on us. You talk to Zach, tell him I still love him.
I can't cry right now around other people. I just need somebody who doesn't hate us.
In these calls, William claimed Zachary was guilty of being a pede before they even met, and Zachary claimed it was William who began actually targeting these children first, which I don't care who started it, but if your husband starts attacking your child sexually and you just go along with it like it's a normal thing to do and then continue to inflict the pain and the assault right alongside him instead of reporting him, then you are just as guilty, my friend. You are disgusting. It was your job to protect these children, not go along with it, not inflict it yourself, and certainly not video your husband, your creepy, disgusting, dirty husband doing these things and then like having sex with him and getting your kicks out of it. It is horrific. In one of these recorded calls, William tells the relative to brace yourself for the truth, saying, brace yourself for the truth, okay? Just don't give up on us. If you talk to Zach, tell him I still love him. Ugh. And in another one, Zachary says, I just need somebody who doesn't hate us. Fat chance, buddy. Fat chance. Because everybody should hate you. This relative asked Zachary if he was worried about the boys at all, and if he wondered where they even were. To which Zachary replied, I mean, yeah, but I definitely can't talk about that. But, I mean, yeah, and then I'm concerned about the house and everything because, nothing's being paid, obviously because I'm here. The longer that this goes on, the worse that all gets. The sooner we get out, the sooner I can manage our finances because things are going to start piling up. We do have subscription stuff that needs to be canceled, like Disney Plus, Amazon Video, all that needs to be canceled because it's auto hitting our credit card. Okay, guys. I'm imagining that you were infuriated at that statement and response as I am. I get that maybe he can't talk about the boys because of the investigation, but to me, this response just shows that this man cares only about his home and his money, and that he actually does not care at all about these boys. He didn't say for 1 second that he cared about the boys because of their well-being. Who are they living with? Are they okay? I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I'm remorseful. No, he's saying, man, I gotta cancel my Netflix. I gotta cancel my Disney Plus because it's auto hitting my credit card and the bills are stacking up. I can't work. That's what he cares about in this moment, which is very indicative to me of his character and further proof to me, again, just my opinion, that the only reason they even adopted these two boys was because they planned to have this all along. Their own private, secret little sex object, sex toy at their disposal whenever they wanted. It is so cruel and so disgusting. While being locked up, Zachary told his relative over the phone that he was fearful of his life because his cellmate threatened to beat him, and he also thinks his cellmate laced one of his drinks with his prescriptions for nightmares. He told the relative, I think somebody put something in my drink. There was a comment made to me last night. Someone tried to give me something, and when I didn't, the way he said it was like, you want another one? And I was like, another one? I never had another one before. It made my arm and everything go numb. I couldn't move my hands. My fingers were stuck. I can't have something like this happen again. He said that he experienced stroke-like symptoms after he drank this drink, which, again, no pity for you, buddy. Don't care if your cellmates are coming after you. Don't care if they're lacing your drinks. That is literally going easy on you, in my opinion. Zachary wrote a message to his defense attorney, begging him to bond him out of jail, saying, it's not my fault I got drugged. I still need a stroke evaluation. Tell the DA that I want an ankle monitor and, if required, a low bond amount. Try everything possible to get us out. Once again, only thinking about yourselves here, and I'm sorry, but the system does not work like that. Ask him for a low bond amount. We need to get out of here. Beat it, guy. Beat it. William has had some complaints about his stay in jail as well. However, his doesn't include being threatened or drugged like Zachary. William's biggest complaint is about the food that he is served every day. Can you believe the entitlement and the audacity of these guys? William says he can't drink the milk he is given every day at breakfast because he is lactose intolerant. He also can't eat any of the other dairy products that are offered in the jail. He also complained about the soy patties and bologna and cheese sandwiches, so he refuses to eat them and says he doesn't even know a dog that would eat those bologna sandwiches. That's how low grade the meat is and how the jail is a joke. Okay, honestly, if it wasn't so sick and disgusting, it would be comical. Because you're in jail. Did you really think that you were going to be served some 5-star meals every day? Nobody, and nobody feels bad for you that the soy patties don't taste good. Oh my God, my bologna sandwich is so yucky, a dog wouldn't even eat it. Don't care. If it were me, I'd literally be feeding you dog food. If anything, I'd probably actually starve you because you're evil. And I probably shouldn't say that, but guys, I'm saying it. So both William and Zachary are now facing a grand jury indictment after pleading not guilty to 17 charges, including felony sexual crimes of children, aggravated child attacks, felony sales of a minor, aggravated insertion of objects, I can't say the word on here, you probably get what I'm saying, it starts with an S, and even incestual charges. Now these charges could carry 9 life sentences for each of them if they are found guilty. And I just want to say, regarding the incestual charges, because these boys were adopted, I don't have proof of this, I'm going to do some digging, but that makes me believe that there was video evidence that they made these two children do things together, which makes me want to cry. It really does. It is heartbreaking and disgusting. So if they're found guilty, they face a long time, which I believe they will be, considering all of the evidence that was collected. The men were also charged with contacting the 2 other men through social media to perform acts of child assault on these kids in exchange for money. Zachary and William are being held in separate facilities while awaiting their next court appearance. Zachary is being held in maximum security in the Barrow County Detention Center, and William is being held at the Cozier County Jail. William and Zachary's defense attorney waived their right to a preliminary hearing to avoid the judge hearing any more details on the case. He has also filed a motion claiming that the charges don't specify the manner in which the defendants allegedly committed these various crimes. The DA has filed a motion to disqualify the defense's motion and move to serve the defendants at trial. The DA does intend to call William and Zachary to testify as witnesses in each other's separate trials if they are separated. The DA also requested that the judge sign off on orders granting limited immunity to William and Zachary to testify against each other at trial, which means that they will not be excused if they refuse to testify. They will be held in contempt of court if they both refuse. Both boys have been placed back into foster care, and I can only hope that they are placed into the arms of the most wonderful people that will care for them and love them the way that they deserve to be loved. This case has gotten under my skin, and it kind of blows my mind because not many people are reporting on it or talking about it. I think because there are so many triggers in it, and I would imagine it's probably going to get flagged. So again, we'll see if it makes its way up. But I feel as though it is so important to shed light on cases like these because it's these people who are taking advantage of the system to have their own plaything in their home and putting on this facade and this, outer appearance through social media and to all of their friends that they're advocates, they're going to these parades, they're a loving family. Oh, we're just 2 men in a same-sex marriage who want our own family. We finally got our family, guys. Aren't you so happy for us? It's all fake. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, guys. Not at all, because I know there are such good people out there who do adopt, but these kinds of cases stick with you. And it's important to shed light on them so that people can hopefully start identifying some of the red flags if they're close to these people and seeing them. And I don't know, I'm going to follow this one super closely because it's hit a nerve with me. It really has. So I'm going to keep you guys updated as they go into their next court hearing, as more information and discovery comes to light, as uncomfortable and as hard as that is going to be to hear. I will keep you updated. So if you want to follow along with this case, guys, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Totally free to do so. It'll just help so that you'll see as those videos get posted with the updates. And as always, it is way faster for me to update on cases via my social media on Instagram. So if you're not following along there, make sure you do so. It's @_Annie Elise. So I will be keeping you updated on this case as new information is released before the trial starts. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I know it was not easy. And I just want to know from you, do you think that their intention from day one when they adopted these boys was to do this, to inflict this? Was that always the end game? Was that the motivation? And when they requested to adopt a 2-year-old girl, was that to further broaden maybe not their own pleasures, but the sales and the exchange for what other people in that ring are looking for? It's my gut belief that that was their intention. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. All right, guys, thanks again. And until the next one, stay safe. Bye.